In today's video, we're going to be continuing our series on how to play kickball by covering the basics of kicking. If you're new to the sport, you might approach it the way you did when you were a kid, playing on the playground, simply kicking the ball as hard as you can. But if you're looking to play competitively, there's a bit more strategy involved. There are three types of kicks you should be aware of, which are bunts, line drives, and power kicks. Each has its advantages and disadvantages, and the key is knowing when to use each. The type of kick that you're going to see most often is a bunt. It is a ball that is kicked relatively slowly down either the third base or the first base line. Ideally, it moves at a speed too quick for the catcher to pick up, but slowly enough that by the time the rest of the defense is able to pick it up and make the throw to get it forced out, the runner or runners have already made it on base. The reason you'll see this kick so often is that it is not only easier to control the placement of the ball, but due to the large size of the kickball, the time required to make a throw across the field, for example, from third to first, often gives enough time for the runner to make it to base, without worrying about the possibility of kicking the ball and someone on defense catching it. The disadvantage of bunting is that you're most likely only going to be progressing runners a single base at a time. You'll want to keep your chest and knee over the ball in order to have your center of gravity going forward and down. If you were to lean back when extending your foot to kick, you would be more likely to kick it upward, giving the defense a chance to make the catch. Contact should be made with the instep of your kicking foot to maximize contact area with the foot and prevent the bounce of the ball from causing a misdirected kick. A bunt should have minimal bounce and ideally roll across the field, making it harder for the defense to quickly pick up. When it comes to controlling the direction of the ball, part of that will be determined by the direction your hips are facing. So, if you want to bunt down the third baseline, you'll want your body to open up in that direction. To help you learn the correct form, there's a little trick. In order to start opening your body up in the direction you want to kick, have the toes of your planted foot pointed in that same direction. This will begin moving your hips, but you'll still need to follow through on the motion. To control the speed, you'll just have to practice until you get a feel for it. There's going to be a fair bit of recoil just on contact, so I like to have new players simply stick out their foot without moving it to get used to how far the ball will go given the speed of the pitch. Then, you can start adding a little more force to your kick. You should be aiming to have the ball make it about halfway to third or first base before it's picked up by the defense. If you're looking to move players around the base a bit quicker, at the risk of a higher chance of getting an out from the defense making a catch, then a line drive is a good option. This style of kick is generally used if there's a decent gap between players on defense in the infield, or if a member of the opposing team has demonstrated a difficult time catching or controlling a kicked ball. You'll want to make sure that if you're attempting a line drive, that you feel confident that you can place the ball in a gap or avoid kicking in the direction of a forced run. For example, if you have runners on first and second base, a line drive near shortstop may be ill-advised, as they might get the lead runner out as they are running to third. To kick a line drive, you're still going to want to keep your chest over the ball, as we're not looking to add height to the ball after it's kicked. Unlike with a bunt, you'll want to make contact with the ball on top of your foot. An easy way to remember this is the saying, laces get bases. The trick to controlling the placement of the kick still comes down to the direction of your hips, but in terms of speed, you'll want to add a fair bit of force to your kick. The goal here is to get the ball to travel through the infield faster than the defense is able to field it and get an easy out. The last type of kick is, as the name implies, a kick with a lot of force. The goal here is to boot the ball to the outfield in the hopes that the defense is not able to make the catch and the runners are able to advance multiple bases, with the kicker even possibly scoring a home run. The catch, however, is that this is a high-risk, high-reward type of play. It is the easiest ball to catch, so it is generally recommended to power kick when you're able to give up an out in exchange for having your runners on base score points. Another time you might use this kick is if you're looking to preserve your kicking lineup for the next inning, and you simply want to have the kicker attempt to get themselves into scoring position or intentionally receive the third out of the inning. To perform a power kick, you'll want to add a bit more height to the ball to clear the infield and have the ball land in the outfield. But remember, the more height on the ball, the easier it is to catch. Similar to the line drive, contact with the ball is still made on top of the foot, not with your toes, and your hips and planted toe directions still contribute to the direction the ball will be kicked. With distance being the primary goal here, speed will follow as a result. To help gain maximum distance, make sure you're extending your leg back with a clean follow-through and full leg extension in front of you after the ball has been kicked. Now that we've covered how to execute these types of kicks, the other part of the equation is understanding how the style of pitch can affect how you need to adjust your kicking. The factors at play here are the speed of the pitch, the amount of bounce on the ball, and the presence of any curve to the ball, including forward and backward spin. To keep things simple, we're just going to focus on adjusting to the speed and bounce of the pitch. When it comes to pitching speed, it can benefit the defense to have a pitcher who is able to throw fast pitches. You can also, however, use this to your advantage as a kicker. The reason being is that the faster the ball is pitched, the stronger the recoil will be when kicked. In regards to bunting, this means applying less force in your kick for the ball to travel the same distance as it usually does given a slow pitch. Same thing for line drives and power kicks. The ball will travel a further distance at a higher speed given the same force applied during your kick with a ball that is pitched more slowly. When a ball is pitched with a fair bit of bounce, the pitcher makes it your job as a kicker to handle the timing of the ball. The trick to helping control the kick in this situation is to make contact with the ball when it has a downward trajectory. This is most important for power kicking, as if you wait for the ball to bounce and kick it while it is traveling in an upward motion, you're increasing the chance of kicking a pop fly that doesn't leave the infield and freezes your runners on base. The last bit of advice I have for you in regards to kicking is, as always, to be familiar with the rules of the league you're playing in. For instance, if you're playing in a league where the pitcher and or charger are allowed to encroach on the kicker during the pitch, you may need to rely more on the line drives as opposed to bunting. Another example might be if you're playing in a league where your bunts have to clear a no bunt zone, then you'll have to put a little bit more force on your kick to clear that area. All that to say, I hope this video gave you some helpful advice in improving your kicking skills. As with anything, it will require some practice, so until you're able to control your kicking consistently, lace up those bases and get out there. Best of luck.